I've highlighted this many times before, but bears pointing out again, I think, and this curious feature of this this that's here, this astonishing presence of life, of reality, that it's so it just eludes our grasp, doesn't it? It's so slippery. It's always seems to be right. I mean, as I speak the words, you can't hold them. You know, they just poof, they just slip away, right? And you know, what we think of as the instant is I don't know, it's so outside of time, isn't it? It's just where does this go? It just vanishes, doesn't it? And then there's this here, this curious the relentlessness of what's here. It's just always here. It's always here. Always here. This being. It's just indestructibly here, isn't it? It's just unbreakable in its rock solid being. No matter what's happening, all the circumstances of life, all the ways life seems to be descriptively and interpretively, and none of the descriptions, none of the interpretations shake the solidity of this being. They are the expression of being. So this is the unconditioned nature of being. I mean, all this spiritual journeying and seeking, it's so it seems so easy to fall into that idea that something else has to happen, right? Something more needs to be seen, something more needs to be understood, some dawning needs to descend upon me. And but here it is. Here is the miracle of being, right? It's so obvious, isn't it? It's so obvious. It's what we are, the miracle of being. And in a moment where there's a feeling of whatever, whatever is happening doesn't alter being, right? Which is why nothing has to happen. Nothing, you know, other than what is already happening has to happen, because it's all being, right? You can't lose being, because what else is there? There you are. Oh my God, I'm so in touch with being. It's amazing, this being, which it is, of course, because it's everything. And then we get all wrapped up in something, the various dramas of our lives and situations, seeming situations and circumstances. And isn't that all being? Being has countless flavors and presents, right, in the myriad ways that it does. But it's always being. And as you feel this being, which of course you're always feeling, you could say every feeling, every felt sense, regardless of its seeming characteristics, descriptive characteristics, the primal sense of it is its being, isn't it? the primal being of every moment. It's sheer existence, it's sheer presence, it's it's what is at the core of each moment is its being. And that never departs, no matter what's being experienced, because all the experience again is the flow of this being. It's constant. This saying I've spoken to in the past of in the I think it's in the Zen tradition of this description of reality as always being, always becoming. I love that. It captures what I'm pointing to in a simple way. Always being. But it always seems to be becoming something else. Some other version of being, right? So in that sense, it's ungrasped, this paradoxical ungraspability of it on the one hand, to pin down what this is. You can't pin this down because it's becoming something else. And as you try to pin it down, it's becoming something else and becoming something else and becoming something else, which is why it's pure mystery, what it is. And yet it always is, whatever it is. It's just this. And if you feel, as you feel the sense of the beingness of you, go ahead and make it very personal, you. The beingness of what's looking through your eyes. This aliveness. But notice that it's unbounded. Where is the boundedness of this being peering through your eyes? Feel its measureless vastness. You never come to the end of it, do you? And if you feel the being that you think of as yourself, and then you feel the being of what you imagine to not be yourself, outside of you, it's one being, isn't it? It's not like, here I am, the being of John, and then there's something beyond John, and I feel the being of that. It's not like there's not like some gap between the two. It's just being, continuum of being. Being as far as the eye can see, being as far as the ear can hear, and the touch can touch, and the sense can sense. It's just being, just being. What is being? Feel the sense of aliveness, that vitality. It's like the shimmering aliveness, the sparkling aliveness. Feel life, feel being, the miracle of being. What is that? Can you pin that down? Can you say what being is? It's like it keeps moving away when you feel it, doesn't it? Like as to what it is, it just doesn't hold still. And yet it's utter stillness, just being, unmoving being. I mean, it's so, it's such a magician, isn't it? All the ways it can seem to be This being is awake, isn't it? Everything is awake. In the sense of being known, everything is known. Everything that's appearing, that's its wakefulness, it's appearing. Being and awake are one thing. And that wakefulness, that being, is here effortlessly, which is why no practice is required to be awake. Here is being awake, isn't it? I remember writing this piece some time ago. I was just, I don't know, this image came to me, and I think I called it the car of meditation. And it was like this feeling I had of having been a long time meditator. I was going to get in my car of meditation and turn on the key and the ignition and get the engine running and then steer my car of meditation. And it was like, and then the engine's already on and running. There's no key to turn. The car is this. It's really like, here it is, full blown, the meditation of reality, right? Already awake, already here, already being. I mean, it's actually funny when you think about, like, I'm going to sit and meditate and be here now. Really? Okay. You can do that, but that little pastime is happening within being here now. Like, being here now is what's happening. And then all this stuff can, all the details can seem to arise, all these little fluctuations of being can occur, including meditating or not meditating, but the engine is on and running, this engine of life, isn't it? How is this, how is it on and running? Well, it's here. Really, what's really trippy among many things is that you can't find a beginning to this moment. Like, it's because there's no past to find. In other words, the beginning of, like, kind of what led up to this moment. The moment's just here. It's just here magically, right? No, where's the past? It's just here always. And all the details of our life are its expression. There's no dichotomy between the details of our life and this sheer, boundless, fathomless being. That's just its dance. It dances as the particularities of each of our lives. It dances as our circumstances and our situations, seeming situations, and it dances as our mental interpretations of it. It's doing everything, the being of life. I mean, even if we think of ourselves as the doer, as these organisms that are doing X, Y, or Z, like hosting a Zoom meeting, like, I can think about it that way. Like, I initiated the meeting somehow. I logged on to Zoom and I sent out messages reminding people about the meeting and all of this, right? But even at a purely physical level, if you want to think about it that way, as an organism that's doing things, it's like, what's 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 giving rise to the energy that fuels activity and action and intention? Like, where does that come from? Like I could say, oh yeah, I'm initiating this moment somehow. But the energy underlying everything, where does it come from? It's doing everything, isn't it? Even our personal doing is being done. In that sense, everything is effortless. Our effort is effortless because it's being done. It's being fueled by this that is everything, this that is arising as everything, including our human lives, what we call our human lives, which are both very human, but absolutely, utterly beyond comprehension in that sense. There's no human beings here. It's just some pure, fathomless mystery appearing as what we call the human life. And is that, in one sense, a human life? But is utterly beyond that because try to define anything and you will see that it is beyond, it transcends any effort or attempt we might make to capture it in the concept, doesn't it? Well, we don't have to capture it because we have it. We are it, right? There's nothing to capture. Here it is. The mystery, uncapturable mystery. Free of every idea about it.